Alright, your homework for 8.5 day 2 requires you to do a lot of either putting things into code or taking things out of code, so I'll do one of each. We're going to ask you to write a cryptogram or a coded message for the word or the message Operation Overload using this particular matrix as your coding matrix. And then the other one is using this matrix as your coding matrix. They're going to ask you to decode and figure out what this message actually says. Alright, so first thing you want to do is take a look at your coding matrix, and it needs to be square, and the reason you want to look at it is you want to see the dimensions of it. I see that it's a 3 by 3, so when I start to group these things up, I want to group these in numbers of 3s. Remember, there's a space here, so you have to count that space as one object or one number. And we get lucky and they all work out. If for some reason that they didn't, you would just put spaces so that you had 3 by 3. And then what you have to do is you have to go, unfortunately, look up, and this is something that we had written down on the board so you wouldn't have to sit there and look it up constantly, but you would look up what letter is O in the alphabet, and O in the alphabet is letter 15. P in the alphabet is 16. E is 5. R is 18. This would be one matrix. You wouldn't actually show that to someone in the matrix like that, but that's fine. A is 1. T is 20. I, starting my third matrix, is 9. O is 15. N is 14. And remember, there's a space there, and we use 0 for the space. O is 15. V is 22. E is 5. R ends up being 18. L is 12. And my last matrix that I would need to use is 15, 1, and 4. And so I haven't written a cryptogram yet. All I've done is I've converted all of my letters into numbers using the alphabet and just using the numbers 0 through 26. So now to actually get them into the code or into the cryptogram, what you need to do is take out your calculator. You're going to need to enter in that matrix, the coding matrix. So go ahead and go second matrix. Under edit, I would probably just pick the first one. This is a 3 by 3. First row is 1, 2, 2. Second row is 3, 7, 9. And the last row is -1, -4, and -7. Just double check to make sure that you didn't get anything typed in wrong, because that would throw this off quite a bit. Alright, and when you want to put something into a code, I'm going to have to unfortunately enter all of these in. I'm not going to do it all at once. I'm going to show you here what I would do. I'm going to enter in the first one. So go to second matrix, go to edit, this time pick letter B. This is a 1 by 3 matrix. And I'm going to type in 15, 16, 5. And then go ahead and get out of here once I've done that. And then to put these things into a code, what you need to do is you need to take this matrix and just multiply it by that matrix. And that will give you 3 more numbers that will be coded. Now think about in terms of multiplying. Why is it this one times that one? This is a 1 by 3. That's a 3 by 3. Remember, the inside numbers have to match. If I try to do that the other way around, it won't work. So go to your matrix category. Pick this one first, which is actually letter B here. So, whoops. Matrix B times matrix A, which is the 3 by 3 matrix. Go ahead and hit enter, and now these numbers are the coded message. So if you were going to give someone, you wanted to tell someone Operation Overload, you would give them the numbers 58, 122, 139, and then they could eventually figure out that that stands for those 3 numbers, which then they could look up and stands for those 3 letters. Alright, now to do this quickly, because I'd have to sit there and type in all of these things, remember the calculator, once I type that in, it understands that that's what I want it to do all the time unless I do something else. So as long as I just go in and change B, so second matrix, go to edit, edit matrix B, still a 1 by 3. As long as I just change these 3 numbers to 18, 1, and 20, when I go back to my home screen, all I have to do is hit enter and then write those numbers down. It knows that I want to multiply that B that I just entered times A. So now it's 1, -37, negative 95. Most times I just write the numbers like that. If you want to put little commas in there to separate them, I can kind of tell what those numbers are, but if you want to put the commas in, that's fine. You don't have to. It's up to you. And so really just a lot of calculator work. So back in, I have to type those in now. So second matrix, go over to edit, pick matrix B again, still 1 by 3. This time it's 9, 15, 14. Go back to the home screen, hit enter. Next three numbers are 40, 67, 55. Then go back to matrix edit again. Now it's 0, 15, 22. Back to the home screen, hit enter. Next numbers are 23, 17, negative 19. And basically once you've got this down, it's not too big of a deal. It's just running through and retyping the numbers in over and over again. So if you feel like you've got this down, you don't obviously need to keep doing this. 47, 88, 88. And my last three numbers are 15, 1, 4. And that's going to give me 14, 21, 11. And so there is my coded message, or my cryptogram. Alright, now if I want to take a coded message like that and figure out what is it actually saying, I do something very similar. Again, pay attention to the coding matrix. It's a 2 by 2. So I need to group these into two sets of numbers of 2, I guess. Which means I've got a lot of matrices I'm going to have to enter in. Typically when you're given one of these, you're probably going to get a 3 by 3 or maybe 4 by 4. Otherwise, it just takes a while to enter these in. Alright, and now because they're giving you the message, this has to work out evenly. If it doesn't, then whoever gave you the message made a mistake. And now the only thing that changes is I'm going to still multiply, and in terms of the order, it still has to be this times this, but I can't just multiply this matrix times the coded matrix, because that's what I did up above. What I need to do is multiply by the inverse, and that will undo what we did up here. So I'm going to have to do this again, typing all these matrices in. Now I have a different coding matrix, so go to your matrix category, and let's go to edit, and I'm just going to pick the first one again and change it to a 2 by 2. It's negative 5, 2, negative 7, 3. Get out of there. Go back to the matrix category again, go to edit. This time matrix B is going to be a 1 by 2 matrix, and the first one is negative 173, 71. Whoops. 71. Alright. And then when I type it in again, remember it's matrix B times the inverse of A, so it's matrix B first, times the inverse of matrix A, so back to the matrix category, pick A, just put the little inverse symbol on it. Go ahead and hit enter, and that gives you two numbers, 22 and 9. And then what you would be able to do is, like we did up here, how we knew that O was 15 by looking at that list, I could go look at my list to figure out what are the letters that correspond with 22 and 9. And I'll do a couple of these. I won't go through and do the whole thing just because of how long it'll take, and it's basically doing the same thing over and over again. But go back into the matrix category. Remember that that's going to be stored for you, so it'll save you some time. Go to edit, edit matrix B. For the 1 by 2 now put negative 62 and 25. Back to the home screen, hit enter, you get 11, 1. Back to your matrix category, hit enter, enter in the next set of numbers, it's negative 119 and 49. Back to the home screen, hit enter. If you don't get a whole number, something's wrong, because these numbers have to correspond to the numbers that were on that list that we were given, the 0 through 26. And like I said before, you're basically just going to keep running through this process over and over again until you've gotten all of the letters. If you feel like you've gotten it down, you don't need to keep going any further. But eventually you are going to keep doing this. And if you look up what 22 is, it stands for V, 9 is I, 11 is K. Something's not working out right here. This 1, I must have made a mistake somewhere in my problem. That should not be a 1. This is definitely 14. That's an N. That 7 is a G. 19 is 0. This should say Viking, so something happened here. Either I copied it down wrong or I bumped something wrong, so that was my mistake. That should be an I. 1 should mean an A, but that doesn't make sense for what I was trying to do. So the first word that you end up with is Vikings. That 0 means space, and then you can figure out what the rest of that says if you really, really want to. Hopefully you got the idea down. That is homework help for section 8.5, day 2.